I am Dr. Olivia Hellewell. I teach Spanish and I teach and research translation studies here at the University of Nottingham. My working languages are Spanish and Slovenian, and I'm also a practicing literary translator. A professional highlight so far has been translating one of the authors I actually worked on for my master's translation project here at Nottingham, a Slovenian author called and many years later becoming his translator and seeing my work on bookshelves back here in Nottingham is something that I'll never forget. My research is primarily focused on literary translation and in particular on questions of power in literary translation. So thinking about how actors, institutions, organisations all shape the body of literature that eventually becomes available to us as an Anglophone readership. In my PhD research, I focused on what we might describe as a small nation context, and I researched literary translations from Slovenia from the year 1991 onwards. And what was interesting about this small nation context is that we get to see a range of factors and drives to promote that national literature in translation. And if we think about the body of work that's available to us in English translation, it's a small but growing percentage of books. And behind those publications, there's a whole range of decisions that impacted who and what we ultimately get to read. And that's what my research is interested in. The politics, the decisions, the economics, and sometimes the pure chance that are all behind those publications and that shape the voices that we get to read in translation. I have a couple of research projects on the go at the moment. The main one involves writing up my PhD research as a monograph, and it's been really good to revisit that data and that work and prepare it for publication as a book. And then another project that I'm working on is an offshoot from my PhD research, but it explores an avenue that I didn't get to look at in as much detail during the PhD. And it investigates the gender imbalance in the literary translations published from Slovene into English. So during the time period that I studied, this 25-year period from 91, only 5 of the 32 novels published in English translation were authored by women. And so I'm designing a survey that seeks to investigate the working conditions of women and non-binary authors in Slovenia. And what's interesting about this project is that there's rightly a lot of talk about diversity in publishing in the Anglophone world. And what this research hopes to show is that those questions of accessibility and diversity are also really relevant in the source culture context. So I want to better understand how women and non-binary authors perceive the role of translation, whether they feel they've had access to support for translations in the past, and how that literary sphere in the source culture might have influenced the opportunities that they were able to access way before their works are considered for translation in English.